Hello friends, welcome back to this new recipe today. We have something special in a way for you, something that you can use as a dessert in your restaurant, something that can be done, freeze and save in the freezer for a long period of time before cooking. This is a classic of dessert for the last maybe 10-15 years. It's been a classic everywhere, which is chocolate lava cake or chocolate fondant, as they call it in French. Very simple recipe, very versatile, as I said, because it's a recipe that can be prepared, stored in the fridge, can be prepared in advance on your day off, for example, when your restaurant is closed. You can use a couple of hours in the morning to prepare hundreds of these and keep them in the fridge or freezer. It can be also something that gives you a little bit of relief during the service in your restaurant, because if you have obviously one of our Chef Top Mind Maps Plus, you can create a cooking process or program for it perfectly that matches the characteristic of your lava cake. So what do we need to prepare this? It's a chocolate fondant lava cake, so dark chocolate is the most simple way, the classic way to do it. Some people like to mix chocolate or select a particular percentage of dark chocolate. That's completely up to you. I'll give you an idea of how to make this recipe with these ingredients, but then I will make you some examples of how you can customize the recipe to your liking or to the season, for example. To the season of fruit, to the season of herbs, of spices as well. So, in order to create the base of our chocolate lava cake, what we need is a bain-marie in terms of equipment. Bain-marie, a mixer, this one here is more than enough to prepare up to 50 portions, and obviously an oven or a blast chiller if you need to cool down. So, chocolate, I will give you the weight and the recipe live during this demonstration, or you can simply ask us on cooking.support@unox.com, which is me and all the corporate chefs for Unox from all around the world giving you advices. We have people more, let's say, expert in a way in bakery, pastry, pizza world, gastronomy world, and so on. So don't be afraid to ask us any sort of advice or suggestions. Cooking.support@unox.com. So dark chocolate this way, I'm using a Belgian 72% dark chocolate, and that goes directly into a stainless steel bowl into my bain-marie. Stainless steel bowl needs to be nice and dry on the inside because we don't want to contaminate the mixture with water. So my chocolate goes in, and I'll go directly in also with 970 grams of butter, roughly. Actually, it's not roughly. We know that pastry is precision to the gram, so it's 975 grams of butter here. So that goes all in, and we place it in our bain-marie to melt. Some people like to try to do this in a microwave, nothing wrong with that. You can even decide to use the combi oven to do that, setting the temperature for around 50 degrees with no humidity, making sure there is no humidity residual inside your oven, and leave it there inside for 10 to 20 minutes. This is obviously faster because we have a transition of heat which is brought by the boiling water or the simmering water. In the oven it will take a little longer, but hey, you don't have to worry too much about stirring and whatsoever. You can do this step in the oven as well. In the bowl of our mixer, we will place eggs and sugar. So this is about 15 whole eggs. You can play around. Once you try this lava cake, you can play around with also the percentage of yolk and whole egg. Some people like it a bit richer, so remove some egg white and leave some more egg yolks in. but that's more up to you. Custard sugar goes in. Here, again, you are free to mix the custard sugar with some melassa, or you can buy directly some brown sugar, sticky brown Muscovado sugar. Up to you. Infinite variation for this recipe. White chocolate need to be treated in a slightly different way because the content of fat is a lot higher than dark chocolate. But maybe we will see this into another webinar. So we place this into our mixer. We start at half speed, so we are not making a mess everywhere, and then we fasten up the process. We don't need to whip up completely the egg and sugar, just need to start melting the things together. In the meantime, I'm going to move around the butter and chocolate and set up the temperature a little. See, bain-marie is one of the most delicate way to do this process because it doesn't change so much of the structure and the protein of butter, which otherwise will melt and split into liquid part and fat part. But most importantly, it's a very respectful way to melt chocolate. I am a little bit skeptical about using microwave, but with the proper attention to details, you can also do this. Maybe 20 seconds at a time. It will take you longer. You'll have to stir it around a few times, but it can definitely be done on a microwave as well. So we will do single portions of lava cake. So we make them into a cocotte. But I'll tell you something, this can be also cooked flat, for example, on a 60-40 tray, on a GN11 tray, on baking paper. It won't be a chocolate fondant, but for example, if you are doing 15, 20 or 40 of these, you have some leftover mix of this, you can treat it exactly the same as a sponge cake. To make a roll, for example. So if you have some leftover on a grease-proof paper, maybe half a centimeter or 1 centimeter layer, cook it at slightly lower temperature with a bit of humidity, and then you can turn it into a beautiful roll as well while it's still hot. Okay, chocolate is almost all melt. Butter is already melt because it was room temperature. You can start directly from cold butter, no drama. For garnish, we will do obviously a little mint leaf. You can choose to use cinnamon, to use lemon zest or whatsoever, orange zest in your chocolate. Chili, some people goes for chili. Maybe if you are a little more brave, go and play around with important flavors. I will use a fresh forest fruit or berries, mixed berry sauce to go with that. So what do I do is go ahead and open up my sous vide bag and place inside my berries. I selected blackberry, raspberries, and strawberries. I leave the blueberries aside because they have quite an important skin on them. So I use them only for garnish, to use fresh. Some sugar. You see, I spread the sugar a little bit around all the berries, which have been already washed and kept in the fridge. That's enough. I don't want it too sweet because the chocolate lava cake will be quite sweet already. I want this to give a little contrast in temperature because it will be cold, and also in flavor because it will be fresh and not overcooked, the sort of jam texture, but fresh, very coolie. This is a couple of mint leaves that I'm gonna push in there, and the juice of about half a lemon. Depending from the season that you do this, be careful with the lemon. If the berries are very ripe and in the end of the summer season, then you can go for more lemon. In the beginning of the summer season, when the berries aren't really rich in sugar, then be careful with how much lemon you use. We are not too far from the mix to be ready. This is definitely ready to go. I'm not going to put any water in here or any sort of liquid because there will be enough liquid coming off the berries. All I have to do is select what flavor I want to give. I give lemon and mint, but you can do cinnamon, you can do star anise, you can do, some people do some drops of balsamic vinegar, for example. We could stay here and talk for days, for how long or for how many things you can put in your coulis. So I'll close the bag, flattening down the berries, because my cooking time will be literally 10 minutes, just in order to take the crunchy off the strawberries and to go ahead with the cooking a little. So I'll do this and I'll go vacuum. My chocolate mix is ready. For the coulis, I will use a steam program because when I'm doing my preparation, I can get ahead with the coulis for the afternoon, for example, or for service time. This coulis also perfect for cocktails, for kids' ice cream, for example, and things like that you can have on your menu. So I will use a manual program because it's something out of the ordinary. Let's say I'm doing a special dessert today. I will do 6 or 7 minutes, roughly, at a temperature of 95 or 90. 90 is okay, so I don't lose also the color of my bright color of berries, and I'll give 100% steam. Push start and wait for my berries to come back to me. Here they are. Magic. The berries are nice and flat. I put them nice and flat because I want to, again, cook them for a very short time. Steam and fry tray. All of you know already this, perfectly, specifically designed for steaming processes. We have a couple of seconds until the oven is ready, and we can start proceeding with the chocolate mix. Now, this chocolate lava cake can actually be done without flour. I'm going to use some, but if you have any customer that is intolerant or allergic to flour, or if you want to, because you want to create a very smooth and velvety texture, then you can alternate the flour with some other sort of thicken agent, like starch. I'm going to do a mix of the two. I'm going to do double O wheat flour and potato starch or corn starch. Any sort of starch will help you reducing the amount of flour that you use. Remember, if you want to substitute all the flour with starch, don't substitute with the same weight, because starch is a lot stronger than flour in terms of thickening and in terms of also of texture. So don't really copy and paste the weight of the flour for starch. All right, here is all completely melt, or there's a couple of pieces of butter floating, but that's not so much of a problem. I rather underheat this mixer than overheating it. It's nice and silky, and now I'm going to add in the egg mixture. I prefer to do this by hand, so not using the whisk because I don't want to overwork the egg part. Right, now they two are going to be mixed together, so I can use the same spatula to check the thickness of my eggs. There's a bit of froth part in here, no drama. It's going to go away now with the heat of the eggs. So tea towel under, so I can have better control of sliding of the bowl, and then I can start with some at a time. The first part of this actually can be done with a whisk, and then you can follow up the rest with a spatula, so you can actually control better the mixture. In the meantime, we are going to throw in our berries, because the chef of my maps is calling me. You see, putting in the egg mixture gradually give you the possibility to take this down to a smoother texture. Berry go in, and the steaming process begin. Now you can go with another, let's say, fourth of the mixture, and you can feel as you whisk it, you can feel the mixture thickening up, because the eggs and the albumin of the eggs, so the egg white, are doing their job and thickening up the mixture. Always be careful on the bottom that there isn't any bits of chocolate or anything. And the last of the egg goes in. Let's push out everything so we don't have any wastage. Fold in the eggs. Perfect. I'll keep this here because I'm going to use that during the flour adding. I don't want to whisk it anymore. I just mix these through, and now it's time to put the flour in. You can sift the flour before you do this, or you can sift the flour directly into your bowl, like I will do. So basically I finish with the whisk now. Get back my spatula and sift the flour. Not so much problem on the, actually I add it too, but I'll say if you're using the starch, it's a lot easier. The flour tends to do a little bit more lumps inside. So let's say I put 1/3 or 1/4 and mix it through gently. So it's easier to do with a towel underneath. You can actually stir with one hand without the bowl going everywhere around the table. Also because the mixture is becoming thicker and thicker now. Once the flour is all in, we go with another 1/3 or 1/4 of the flour, and then the rest in. And this is the final result of your chocolate fondant or the chocolate lava cake. Perfect. I grab a carafe or a jug or measure jug if I want to, and I grab my tray with the beautiful molds. Aluminium molds, about 150 grams each. Before doing this, because it will take me a few minutes, I will preheat the oven for this cooking process. So on this, again, I'm gonna use manual so you can also see what we are gonna do. I'm gonna pull this to 10 minutes or 9 to 10 minutes, depending if the tortini or the chocolate lava cake or fondant is cold, refrigerated, or freshly made. You can variate a couple of minutes more or less, depending in what state your flan is. We'll go 175. You could go 180, 190, but this is quite a high ventilation combi oven, so we want to do this sort of cooking process, and maybe a little extraction of humidity. Preheating is already, as our technology wants, a smart preheating, so don't need to select any, just to start. Right. Now we are gonna transfer some of this to the jug and put it into our molds. I have sprayed the molds with some grease-proof spray. You can decide for more crispy result to butter them and sugar them, or butter them, flour them, or butter them and cocoa flour them. So it's up to you, as long as you do something otherwise, they will stick on the mold. In the meantime, I have the coulis, which is ready. Nice and steamed. As you can see, colors are preserved. Little for the lemon juice, little for the low temperature. However, we preserve a little the color. We cool them down and then we will blend them before we serve the lava cake. In this step, you just have to be careful to do them all the same, so all of your customers will be happy to have a same size chocolate lava cake. And this is all the lava cake that I need for the day. So, as I said, if you have some leftover of your mixture, you can do more and freeze them, do more and keep them in the fridge, even for 3 or 4 days before you actually serve them. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do them after this cooking process. I'm gonna do them all, freeze them, and then keep them from when we have lovely customers coming and visit us here in Padova. Right, so the tortinis or the chocolate fondant are well distributed around my tray. I've got about 12 in here. I'm ready now to bake them off. Very good. I'm going to wait for a couple of minutes for my coulis to cool down. I have roughly 8 to 10 minutes before the tortinis are ready. So I'm going to get off the screen, come back when the berries are cooled down for finishing the berry sauce and for showing you the final result and plating of the chocolate lava cake. I'll see you in a minute. Here we are back ready for preparing the sauce, so the coulis, the fresh berry coulis, and to monitor the last couple of minutes of our lava cake cooking. To speed up the process, I have moved my berries to the blast chiller, so I'm going to get them and blend them together. Here they are. We'll open up the bag. Put them into a jug. Eventually remove the couple of mint leaves that I have put in earlier and blend. All done. Now they are obviously full of seeds and some of the skin as well, because especially blackberries and strawberries are full of very small seeds. So we will filter them into another clean jug. I like bright color because the lava cake is quite dark. White sugar powder will give me the light color on the plate if I have a dark plate, for example. But the important thing is if you want to achieve a little contrast, then you can use more raspberries and more strawberries. That will give you directly a nice and bright color. Some people like to put some liquor in there as well, for example, to make a bit more zesty. Orange liquor, how do you call it? Cointreau liquor, and things like that. We like the liquor separate. Perfect. Now our coulis is ready, nice and beautiful, light red color. I'm gonna leave it in for another couple of minutes until we are ready to plate. This can be done obviously in advance in order to have a nice and cold coulis when you're serving. Perfect timing, they say. So I'm going to show you one of the chocolate lava cake, just to show you the soft runny lava effect on the inside, and the other one will show you a little more fancy plating. So the idea of not overworking the mixture give you more the idea of a souffle, sort of collapsing in the middle because it starts cooking from the outside more than inside. If you work everything together too much, it'll give you more an idea of a muffin, which is still a nice and beautiful soft art cake, but not maybe as you want to serve it in your restaurant. So this is the final result. In terms of uniformity, as you can see, it's beautiful and even all around. You can serve it straight, you can turn it around and, for example, serve it with a scoop of vanilla ice cream or pear handmade ice cream, and the result that you have when your customer bites in is the lava effect that cools down the plate. This is how to torture a lava cake. Let's see how to plate one. Beautiful coulis, smell like end of summer. We'll do in the middle. As I said before, bit of fresh mint, some berries, just to give double texture to the berry side of the dessert. And we can plate it, as I said, upside down for more of an even result. Or I like to turn it around and use it as a little base for what's going next. And what's going next is some berries, nice and washed. Couple of blueberries, which were missing from the coulis before, but I did keep them aside for the skin effect. And also because, but you know this more better than me probably, blueberries isn't really blue in there. So the more blueberry you add to your sauce, the more it will dilute the sauce, because they don't really have a nice and blue color. The other berries have a much better color. A couple of mint leaves, nice and picked, to give some color to your dish. And to finish up, I like to finish with the berries. So you have a little surprise effect as well. So this is basically all for today's recipe. Chocolate lava cake with a twist of summer berries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and whatsoever, and the beautiful sauce on the bottom that give you the idea of a bit more freshness. Enjoy. I hope you like the recipe, and I will see you again for more recipes from Unox is all. Ciao.
And I know